Welcome back to Games Rebuilt. I'm Jameson Also Brink, and we are one. So today I want to talk about the Steam Deck 2 rumor. Now, it's just a rumor, but I'd be surprised if, Steam and Valve released a Steam Deck 2 within the next 2 years. It just wouldn't surprise me, especially since Valve is already looking into the next gen of their devices. Now, depending on how they want to go, they might just do a Steam Deck Pro where they just upgrade the APU, which there's a good chance this rumor relates to something like that, while they would work on something, let's say, a Steam Deck VR set, where you could essentially just wear some goggles, essentially wear a VR headset that would be as powerful as a Steam Deck, maybe 50% more powerful as we get into some of these leaks. So with that, make sure to like, subscribe, bash that bell with your crowbar, and just watch the whole video because this is fun. I'll have my predictions at the end, and let's get into the funness. Now, field trip time. So the leaks coming out are saying that the next gen APU for Steam Deck will probably be based off of the Phoenix Point, called Little Phoenix. This would be kind of a spiritual successor to Van Gogh, which is what's in the Steam Deck. Now, we'll go back to the article in a second. Let's look at this chart real quick. So this year, we have the 5000 series coming out. This is notebook wise. Then we have this 6000 series at the end of the year. And then the Phoenix Point is at the end of 2023, which is at the end of next year. So the 6000 series will have about a year's life. The 6000 series is what's in the Loki and Loki Max. And then the Air has the 5000 series. And then, and with all these, the differences come from generational leaps. Now, the Steam Deck has a Zen 2 CPU and an RDNA 2 GPU. When the Phoenix comes out, if it goes the Phoenix route, then the Zen 4 and the RDNA 3 are going to be those jumps. So the CPU will have a 2-gen jump, the GPU will have a 1-gen jump. And you can see that, I think it will give us a pretty good boost to performance, and we'll go over those performance metrics a little bit later. I just wanted to go over this, and definitely, if you look at this, the die shrinkage, these die sizes, is a big deal for heat and performance boosting. So, at least in my opinion, that's it. Some generations haven't seen as big of a leap from it as others, but typically the idea is if it's done right, you get less heat, so you can typically boost higher. And we'll look at those. Let's look at those, I guess, right now. So with the original Van Gogh in the Steam Deck, you have a 3.5 gigahertz boost. And then in the Little Phoenix, it can boost up to 4 gigahertz. So you have a 0.5 gigahertz increase. And in mobile devices, that's really good. How Steam handles it, they do sustained typically, not boosts often. They do sustained is how they try to handle that, because you want sustained performance. You don't want performance going up and down a lot. And I'd even say the Steam Deck does have performance issues with it going up and down. Not a lot of thermal throttling for me, but it's enough to where I don't know if it's that or just rendering. It's just a little bit inconsistent in some games on your frame rate. So if we look at the Little Phoenix leak details, this is coming from Moore's Law is Dead, YouTuber, and it's coming from a source that he has at AMD. And if we look at this, it's pretty much going to tell us that on paper, we're going to see 25, 35, maybe up to 50% increase in CPU over the Van Gogh. And then we're going to see about up to 60% increase of the GPU from the Van Gogh. And we'll get into a little bit of my predictions in just a little bit. We could also see an increase. It's just these numbers are kind of saying this. We could see a little bit, and we'll just help you guys out. You can see a little bit of an increase to if they upped the RAM. So if they boosted the bandwidth on the RAM, we could see a decent size increase on performance, but that'd also take a battery hit, is what they're talking about down here. So with all that being said, of course, this also says Steam Deck 1's ability to run even modest AAA games is long-term is a concern of his. I don't agree with it. A lot of the games I've thrown at it, even Elden Rings, run great. Is it perfect? Is it better than my big PC? No, It's on the go, fun, and it works good. So good enough. I mean, I will always take more performance. I'll always say that. It's just when you have a small package, even though Steam Deck might not be too small, but when you have a small package, sometimes people ask, I think, a little bit too much of something this big, being able to overtake my tower. So with that, my predictions are, I do think that the life cycle of the right over here, like the Phoenix Point coming out in 2023, Steam/Valve working with AMD already, and probably have been working on it. The Phoenix, the little Phoenix, before they even released the Steam Deck, I wouldn't be surprised. They probably started working on the architecture and all that. Usually, like with, let's say, consoles, we'll get leaks like with this type of stuff, or they'll mention it. 2 year ahead of a release, or at least an announcement. So I think we're going to get an announcement on Steam Deck 2 beginning of next year. I think reservations will go into effect the mid to end part of next year, and we could see a release of Steam Deck 2 by the end of next year to the beginning of 2024. Those are my predictions. It would be more of a refresh on the APU more than anything. I don't know if they'd actually change the body or much else on it. The biggest changes that I would like to see them do is maybe up that bandwidth on the RAM. I think we'd also see a sizable increase in some performance. I also like to see them do an OLED 1080 screen. It doesn't have to be any bigger. I mean, 8-inch would be awesome. I just don't know if it's practical for portability and also price. There's so much of all this that goes into making this device. That's why they made some sacrifices. But with the success and with maybe parts becoming more available, they might be able to actually bring down the price. Well, not bring down the price, but be able to get better sourced parts. So if they do change the case, I'm hoping for that bezel-less. And this is turning into like a Steam Deck wish list. That's not what this video is all about. I think practicality-wise, they're going to go more Steam Deck Pro route with this and release a refresh of the APU with maybe, like I said, an upgrade to the RAM. It would also be nice to see them do that 2280 M.2 drive, so you can have more options, cheaper options for upgrading your internal SSD. It's not that hard. It would be nice to have those additional options and be able to put more in there. I would actually go to a 2 terabyte. Anything less than that, I'd just rather stick with SD cards. And to be honest, for a lot of games, it might be best just to stick with an SD card. It works great. So to kind of finalize this whole thing, I think Steam Deck 2 or Pro is going to come out within the next 2 years. The bare minimum, an announcement. Bare minimum, an announcement will come out sometime, or maybe additional leaks. We already have one leak, and this has only been a couple months after the release. I also think that if they are still fulfilling reservations at the time, they'll probably do a rollover program to allow you to either roll over to the next one or auto roll you over if they don't want to continue to produce the Steam Deck. Especially, let's say, if they just do an APU refresh, there's a good chance that the Steam Deck would just be called Steam Deck 2 or Steam Deck Phoenix. It could be just as simple as that if they don't change a lot on the Steam Deck. I really do think that it's all promising, and to be competitive, which it's not like Valve's competitive at times. I mean, I haven't even seen them pick up and like trying to compete with Epic Games too much with this with Steam. Even though maybe this is a play, like the Steam Deck is a play into being more competitive to make sure more people buy stuff on library. It's making me buy more stuff on my Steam library. I want to support it more. With that, with like the Loki and the Air coming out, the competition might make it so that Steam and Valve wants to release more. There's a good chance that's the case. And release sooner, maybe more refreshes. Competition's good. Valve just doesn't. This is kind of, I feel like, newer territory for Valve in some ways. You have to really have a direct competitor. That being said, the 6-inch screens and like the Loki and the Air are like great options for portability. I have to see them actually work, and in the end, we'll see we'll really see how much it affects Valve. That's it for what I think. Sources are in the description below. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know what you're thinking about the Steam Deck 2 with if it's going to be like, let's say Steam Deck 2, Steam Deck Pro, if it's going to be refresh of just Steam Deck but with a new APU. I do think one thing is I don't think they're going to just brush by people that have reservations. Even if, let's say, they don't fulfill all the reservations by the end of the year and they release a new refresh, I really do think they'd handle either converting people's reservations over or still fulfilling those current reservations. I don't think they're going to screw people over. Valve's, I think, decent at that type of customer service, in my opinion. So don't be worried. This is all, I think it's all good, and I want to know what you think about it. And this is exciting. I really want to see refreshes like this in this type of handheld market. I don't like the idea of like Nintendo Switch, how they do their console life cycles. It's just too long for me. I want to see those increases. But also this is PC gaming where, us as PC gamers like to see refreshes and try to get every inch of power as we can and have options. So in the end, even if they have the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck 2 or Steam Deck Pro and they still sell both, and Steam Deck 2 or Pro is just $200 more, I wouldn't be against that. The Steam Deck is still a great system and it will be good and function like the games like Witcher 3. If you want to play Witcher 3 5 years down the road, it's not going to play any different than now. So unless, HD releases, whatever, there could be more stuff. But that's my thoughts on the whole Steam Deck 2 rumor. I think that this is going to be good. And ultimately, we're going to see about a 50% increase on the next APU launch across the board. It could be as much as 70, and I'm hoping that it's hitting about the 70. That would be really sick for some of those AAA titles that are a little bit more difficult. So, thank you guys for watching. Check out my other videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out!